Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Thank you so much for tuning into this channel. This is Discovering Balance Through Mindfulness with Zane. I'm your host, Zane Darner, and I am really excited to start this journey with you. I have been thinking about this process for a couple decades, actually. Really quite a bit over this last 5 years. Give you a little bit of a background. I became a certified life coach through Coach Training Alliance in 2003, so I've been coaching for over 20 years. I have also worked for 18 years with chronic pain patients, helping them look at different ways to create relationships with their chronic pain. Additionally, I worked for a period of time as a body worker doing Reiki. And way back in those days, we had brick and mortar practices. My coaching practice back then was called Journey. What was it called? I was going to say Journey Life Balance. It was Journey Way Coaching, because I still believe that this whole life, it's about the journey. It's not about the destination. And then at the same time, my Reiki practice was called Reiki Loft Energy Works. And through those, that kind of started me on this little process of going inside. I really believe that our internal landscape is where we're going to find the answer to discovering balance in our lives. And we're going to talk about that more. What my goal is for you is to kind of turn all of you into your own, sorry, this is a kind of a pun on words, but I want you all to become your own internal landscape architects. It's really important. So this little clip is simply an overview of what this channel is going to be about. We're going to be talking about balance. And one way that I do that, I really believe in what used to be referred to as a 4-room model in coaching. I believe that the four main rooms of our life are mind, body, heart, and spirit. And the theory behind this, when it was first kind of talked about, was that normally we spend most of our time in one of those 4 rooms. Sometimes a few of us have a secondary room. The goal in our life, though, is to have, like in our homes, light and movement, fluid movement in all the rooms of our life. Typically, though, what happens is 2 or 3 of those rooms kind of fall into a state of disrepair. They kind of get cluttered, like the junk drawer in the kitchen, or that spot in the back garage where everything gets thrown, or that little closet in the back bedroom, right? Now I want to make a statement. I am coming from a particular experience. I have just recently turned 60, so I just had my 60th birthday. I've been able to have some experience in my life based on where I grew up, the experiences I was afforded. I have had some specific privilege in my life, and I'm really aware of that. So when I say things like a kitchen junk drawer, or that closet in the back bedroom, or the corner in the back garage, I'm very aware that some of you might not have those spots. And so I'm not trying to throw those examples out lightly, and I'm totally not trying to create a space of separation between my examples and where you may be. Let's see what we can do about creating a place to where we can kind of meet in the middle, and maybe see if some of the things that I'm trying to share can work in your experience with this life. Because I truly believe, friends, this is a precious human body. We have a really amazing example, a really amazing opportunity with the time that we have here. So I mentioned 4 rooms in our life: mind, body, heart, and spirit. And most of us spend most of our time in one of those rooms. I've got some friends, they're athletes. That's what they do. They spend all of their time on their bodies. And that's really lauded, that's really praised in our culture, right? But at the same time, as I've watched them age, they've got some pretty serious injuries too. And so in these 4 rooms of our life, one of the ways that we work toward balance, fluid, flexible, moving balance, is that we need to come up with a set of values or a set of characteristics that are important to us today, moving forward from this moment, that can inform our behavior in those 4 rooms. Here's an example. As I mentioned, I just completed my 50s. I treated my 50s like they were training for my 60s. Training for my 60s. Kind of doing the same thing. I'm looking down the road at my 70s in the next decade, and I kind of have an idea about how I want to be, but I have a realistic understanding about how our body changes over time. And I don't have a problem with that. However, in that body room, I've got 3 characteristics that I've kind of held for a little while. And they are, I want flexibility, mobility, and I want to be able to get up off the floor. So it's flexibility, mobility, and strength, really, to kind of shorten that up. I want to be flexible. I want to be able to bend. I want to be pliable. I want to be able to bend without breaking, right? As I get older, there's more arthritis, there's more creaking, and for those of you out there that are really, really young, please don't just change the channel really quick. I promise I'm going to share some stuff that actually is applicable in your life. I will do everything I can to not make this the old guy channel. But flexibility, mobility, and strength. Not only in my physical room, I want that in my mental room. I want to have flexibility in my thinking. I don't want to be rigid. I don't want to get all locked and hunched over and all just so grasping at ideas that something new can't come in. That's become really important in my life. I want mobility. I want my thinking to be able to travel. Okay, and I want strength. I want to be able to have some strength and convictions, but again, I don't want to hold so fast to ideals that I become really rigid to where I can't hear somebody else from a different culture, a different space, a different time, have a conversation with me. So we talk about generational cohorts a lot. And when I say we, a lot of times what I'm referring to is I'm referring to my wife, Sandra, who is also an amazing coach. And we talk about generational cohorts. And it's very common. It's almost become cliche to hear baby boomers talk about millennials, or millennials to talk about baby boomers, or Gen X to talk about, okay, I understand there's characteristics in each generation that can be confusing, can be off-putting. And I get that. But at the same time, I had a really unique experience where I am a boomer, but I'm also Gen X. I'm right on the cusp, right on the cusp. I've got older parent values, but I was definitely raised as a latchkey kid. I was the first of the Gen X folks. And the same thing is true in astrology. I'm right on the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius. I'm not a real huge astrology guy, but my sister could tell you, my sister Carrie could tell you exactly what that refers to and why. But talking about these 4 rooms, talking about why they're important. So we've got mind, body, heart, and spirit. So in my emotional center, I have found that I am a much stronger man. I am a much more effective man. I have much greater relationships when my heart is open and spacious and vulnerable. And for most of my life, I had a closed heart for several reasons. And there's still so many areas in this that I'm working on, but I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to do this work and to be able to kind of play with this. It's being able to understand my background and my mental health challenges along this journey, my physical challenges along this journey, they have really helped me understand who I am. I mentioned early on the importance of knowing your inner landscape, knowing who you are. If we don't know who we are, we really can't interact with others in a way that's going to change the world. And I'm not trying to say that in a trite, cliche way. The spirit room. I just want to break this down really simply. I am going to give a definition of spirituality as something larger than yourself that you have tested, that you have strengthened, that you have practiced, that you know that you can lean and rely on when things go awry, when the storms come raging. And because of that, I often talk about the very big importance of practicing when the sun's out, practicing when things are good. Because when things are bad, that's not the time to go, okay, so what was that meditation? Do I count my breaths or where? No. We need to have that to where we have a practice that we can rely on, that we can move into. So we're going to talk about that. This whole thing, a lot of my background comes from different studies in comparative religion. It comes from a background understanding in psychology. It comes from my own experiences, my own path and practice in a lot of those areas. We're going to talk about it. But we're also going to talk a little bit about life navigation and why it's very, 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 very important to understand where you are right now. I was in the Coast Guard. I totally have been in love with the ocean most of my life, and I fell in love with sailing later in life. And I use sailing as an example in coaching all the time. And so in one little piece of this example, I'm talking about kind of a system, a practice that I talk about, life navigation. I want you to imagine getting on a sailboat and you're in San Diego, California, USA, and you're going to go over to Maui in Hawaii. What you don't do is you don't just point your boat west on the bearing that your little GPS says Maui sits at, put your boat out and go down below and play cards for 12 days and hope that you're ever going to end up in Maui. I know that was really a dumb example, but the reason I'm saying it that way is my love of this example stems from the fact that it really is a beautiful example of our life. When you are heading out on a trip like that, there are many forces that are arrayed against you. You have wind and tide and time and current. You also have the skill of the sailor. There needs to be some knowledge on this journey, right? That's what this whole channel is about, is us having a conversation about knowledge. And what I'm really trying to do, my big goal for this channel is to create community. It's truly to create community. There's going to be a lot of teaching on this channel, but at the same time, the name of this is Discovering Balance Through Mindfulness. And the reason that mindfulness is so important here is because it is that practice that has really created big change in my own life. We're going to talk about food. We're going to talk about how you can create a meal in a way that you are truly creating a meal. You're truly putting yourself into this meal. When you share that with somebody that you really care about, that time and effort and energy and joy that you put into that, absolutely amazing. It's a gift, right? We're going to talk about different things that you can do in those 4 rooms of your life to create your own path and practice. All right. A lot of times folks from kind of my background, when we talk about practice, we're often referring to either a meditation practice or our yoga practice, or if we're athletes, what is our gym routine, or are we bicyclists? Are we mountain bikers? Do we run? How do we train, right? I have an amazing teacher here in Boise, Idaho, and something that he said has stuck with me, and I pass it along every chance I get. The key to all of this is not necessarily knowledge. It's not learning more and more and more and more. I'm going to teach you a whole bunch of stuff in this channel, and I'm really excited to share it. But the most important thing here is application of practice. And that's a big shout out to Alejandro. Application of practice. We apply what we learn. Even if it's a little tiny thing, if you have any little aha moment, we learn to apply that. We put that into this big matrix that we're kind of creating together of these 4 rooms of this living organic practice in our life. And so what I'm kind of talking about is we're going to create some values for each of those 4 rooms. And I'm going to encourage you to do that with me. I'm going to show you how I did it myself. In those 4 rooms, I've got these characteristics that I've come to see where I kind of have some characteristics that are the same or similar in all 4 of those rooms. And I've been able to kind of make them fit without too much force. At the same time, we need to have some steps moving forward so that we aren't stagnant in those rooms. For example, for 2024, I have a list of things that I'm learning. One topic, I've just fallen back in love with photography. So one topic is photography. One topic is vlogging, right? One topic, I'm getting back into my writing. Some different web stuff and podcasting. But as we are moving through the end of winter, we kind of have 2 more months before spring really kind of starts poking its head up here. I'm already starting to think about rivers. I'm already starting to think about water. And I really want to get out on some boats. I want to get out and do some paddle boarding and some kayaking. And I want to be able to get out this year. So there are some things that I want to do. There's some things that I would like to see happen this year in my life. For that to occur, I need to do some things right now. I'm going to show you my planning system. I use a calendar system called Planner Pad. It is available on Amazon. Eventually, I'm going to have links down in the description. This is all brand new, friends. And so if you're tuning in now, you're tuning in right at the beginning. This is going to get really big, and I'm so excited to share because I've been collecting this material, this information, for a very, very, very long time. I talk about mindfulness as a way to discover balance in your life because mindfulness allows us to be present. It allows us to be right here. I'm going to leave you with one little technique that I've used as a coach for years and years and years. I want you to say this phrase, think about the soles of your feet. Think about the soles of your feet. Not think about the soles of my feet, okay? When you are in a conversation with somebody and you realize that you're kind of somewhere else, say this to yourself. Think about the soles of your feet. In a way, what you're doing is it's kind of like that higher vision of who you are, that witness of who you are, is tapping you on the shoulder and saying, Zane, think about the soles of your feet. What happens, and I smile every time I think about this process, is what happens is it's like there's this whooshing sound as I suck back into my body. I come back into my body from wherever I am. I think about the soles of my feet and I look in the eyes of the person who is in front of me. And I've gotten really good with my best friend and partner and amazing wife, Sandra, where when I've gone away in a conversation, if I've gotten distracted, if I've gotten lost in my thoughts, if I've gotten lost in sensations or emotions or feelings, I'll smile and I'll say, I'm really sorry. Would you say exactly what you just said again? Because I missed it. I went somewhere. I'm back right now. And what you're saying is really, really important to me. It used to be really hard for me to do that. It used to be really difficult because, number one, I wouldn't say it because I didn't want to let that person know that I just went tripping out through the woods for a while. But then it was hard for me because I realized telling somebody that you've just been distracted, it's really hard because you're telling somebody that you just were distracted. Your thoughts or your whatever had happened was more important than what they were saying. What really is going on, though, friends, is this occurs to us all the time. I teach meditation, and we're going to talk a little bit about mindfulness meditation in this. As a tiny side note, I'm going to create a channel that is specifically focused on mindfulness meditation. So we'll talk about that. That's coming. But in mindfulness meditation, basically the really short description of what really meditation is you have an anchor. And like in this example, your anchor is your breath. So you're paying attention to your breath, either by counting your breaths, by feeling your breath in like one spot right here on your lip, or you have your hand on your chest and you're in and out, or rising, falling. You're paying attention to your breath. It's a concentration practice. And when you become distracted, not if, but when you become distracted, you're gone for a little while. And then what happens is you have this realization that, oh my gosh, I was gone. I wasn't paying attention to my breath. And as Sharon Salzberg, an amazing master teacher, says, you begin again. You begin again. It doesn't matter. That's the whole practice. It doesn't matter if you have to do that 100 times. You begin again. Because what happens is when you come back, that's not the time for self-judgment. That's not the time for you to beat yourself over the shoulders and say, oh, I'm such an idiot. I can't stop my thoughts. Meditation isn't about stopping your thoughts. Meditation gives you tools to become present and aware of what's going on right now, right here under your feet. And when you become distracted, it gives you tools to show you how to come back here. Because, friends, here is all we have. Think about this. The only way to experience the past is a thought about the past. The only way to experience the future is by having a thought about the future. All we have is right now. And so, if you become distracted, think about the soles of your feet. And there's a specific way and reason why you're not saying, think about the soles of my feet. Because you're the person who's distracted. When you use the phrase the way that I've shared it, think about the soles of your feet. Again, it's like that one who knows in you is simply tapping you on the shoulder, going, hey buddy, think about the soles of your feet. Come back into your body and begin again. So please tune in next time. I promise to clean up the description. I will add some links to some things, but bear with me. This is a work in progress, and I'm so excited to share this journey with you. But we're going to go back to talking about that sailboat leaving San Diego, heading to Maui, and why that's important in this whole process. And I look forward to doing this with you. Until then, all the very best.